Hi, I'm Annette here from Denver, Colorado. In this video I'm going to talk about blocking. A good way to start out thinking about blocks in AntCode is to learn something called house code. In house code you think of your weapon as moving to different positions that could film the walls and roof of a house. Some of these can be useful for a static code, how you would begin a fight looking at your opponent, and you can move to the others to respond to your opponent's attacks. So right here, for example, I'm blocking my lower right. I can move to a higher diagonal position to block upper right. I can move across and diagonally to block upper left. And then I can move lower vertical and across to block the lower left quadrant. And what these fill positions do is film something that looks like walls and roof of a house. Once you're comfortable with those positions, one issue that people will notice is that sometimes your opponent knocks your guard out of the way and hits you anyway. So the next thing I'll talk about is how to strengthen your guard and avoid that happening. If you're stronger than average, you might find that that only happens in a couple fights. If you're less strong and smaller than the average player, you might find that happening to you in almost every fight. So depending on who you are and where you're playing, this could be really useful to you, or it might not be as relevant. So let's take a look at exactly what is happening when I block. So if I'm getting down here to get the full frame, and here's one of the positions of house code. I don't have a helper for this video, so we're doing our best. Let's imagine that I'm using that position to block a strike that's coming vertically down at me. And let's imagine that I'm having a problem where I try to block, and then they just push right through and hit me anyway. I saw it coming, I put the block up there, it didn't matter, and I'm dead. What's happening here is that my angle is too shallow to intercept their swing. Look at the angle between my arm and the incoming strike. This doesn't have to be a pole arm. I'm just using this to conceptualize their sword coming in. The angle's too shallow, their sword has forced my hand down. So a couple ways to deal with that. You can block with your hand facing the other way, because this motion, this position is a stronger motion than when your palm is facing down. Face your palm up, and even at the same angle, it's easier to catch a block and stop them from hitting you. Another thing you can do is change that shallow angle. So instead of blocking here, pull your hand in closer to yourself and meet the strike at more than a 90-degree angle. This allows that block to be supported a lot more by the rest of your body, and it's more difficult for them to force through that motion and hit you. It does leave other openings less guarded, so it's always a trade-off. But those are a couple of things you can try. You can try blocking with your hand turned over. You can try blocking closer to you at a vertical angle. If we're looking at a horizontal strike, assume they're hitting you. You might see this happen here. I'm I'm attempting this block. I'm trying to block this lower right quadrant. I'm trying to block my own, but the strike comes in, it knocks my guard sideways, it hits me in the own anyway. That's an issue of being at a shallow angle. One piece of advice you might hear is to turn your wrist out and take away that angle. That advice is not likely to be good for anyone with smaller wrists, anyone with less arm strength, because it means that all of the force of the strike is now going into this much of your body instead of this much of your body. It's not that someone smaller can't play this game, we absolutely can. We just need to be aware, if we're fighting larger people, of some of these safety issues that are even more relevant for us. Someone who's very strong might be able to do this without lightweight weapons, fighting mostly weaker opponents. This might work great for them. It does not work for me. It might not work for you if you're watching this video. So what do you do to take away that angle? Again, notice the angle that's happening right now between their strike and my attempted block. It's a very shallow angle. I want to increase that angle. I want to move my block a little further out and make it more square. If I don't want to move my guard all the way away from me, I can swivel my body and pull back just a little bit. I can put my elbow nearer to my side. And then when the swing comes in, I'm meeting at a much more square angle. It's a lot easier to support that with the rest of my body. And it's easier to block that strike from hitting me. Okay, I hope that was useful. We talked about house guard, and then we talked about some different ways to strengthen those blocks. Thank you for watching. Let me know any questions.